Hello, it's Greg Allison Green Greg's coming to you on the 4th of July 22. Time on deck is 14:05 hours Central Daylight Time. My friends, happy Independence Day, first and foremost. Second most, let's just talk about independence in general and freedom. Better yet, let's just talk about America. Why America is actually so great. You know, the narrative today in the school systems, the narrative being put out by a lot of people is the United States of America is the worst nation that ever existed. That it's awful, that it's terrible, that all evils in the world come from the United States of America. I swear that's what a lot of people are being taught today. That's what a lot of people believe today. I'm going to say this. America's not perfect. No nation's perfect. No individual's perfect. No nation is perfect. But we are a nation that has learned and overcome a lot. But mostly, the most important thing about America is the concept we were founded upon. That concept of freedom. The concept of liberty. It really wasn't all that well understood when our founding fathers set that up. That's how we went up with slavery to begin with. Like I said, over time we learn more. We make things better in some regards. But sometimes the pendulum swings the other way too. I think that's where we're at now. The pendulum has swung too far in areas that don't appreciate the freedoms and opportunities we have in this country. I had a friend, ex-military, his kids told him that the Berlin Wall was built to keep Westerners out of Europe. Can you believe that? Oh my God. That's what the kids are thinking now? Some of them are actually being taught that? Where did that come from? That's a darn lie if there ever was one. The Berlin Wall was just the opposite. Everybody was trying to escape the communist countries in droves. And to stop them, they had to build walls, and they had people mounting machine guns there. And some people still risked their lives to get out, and a lot of them lost their lives trying to. So there's nothing, you know, if communism is so great, why does everybody try so hard to escape those places? It happened even recently in North Korea. Somebody, a guy trying to get out there. So, you know, these things happen, my friends. And we got to understand that those nations aren't so great where people are trying so hard to get out of them. I know some people trying to get out of the United States now due to Supreme Court rulings. But, you know, there won't no one shoe fits all thing for the whole country. And my friends, that's not what the Constitution was set up to do. You know, our country was set up to be a state, a conglomeration of states that had a lot of individual power, and they'd been robbed of that, but that's not constitutionally based. So, we're returning to the Constitution. And it's got value because it gives different experiments. You can go to the state that best fits what you think, how you feel, if you so choose to do that. Or you can live where you're at, you know, and just try to redress things politically however you may. But I believe in freedom. My cat is out here checking out the critter den a minute ago. Now it's walked up here. We're going to talk some more about, I'm not done talking about the United States, guys. But I just wanted y'all to see this. This critter den looks pretty freshly used here. I think it is currently in use, along with a few others around here. There are wild critters out here. So, okay, let's go back to the United States. You got to stop and smell the roses, guys. You got to have some rapport with nature. And so I stop sometimes in the video to do that. If you don't like that, tell me in the comments below. Okay, back to it. America is a great nation. Why? Because we're founded on freedom. Because you got opportunity here. I met people who came from foreign countries who didn't speak a word of English, who were broke when they got here. But they were determined to take advantage of those freedoms that they didn't have in their own lands. One of them told me he learned English from watching television. That's back when I was in the Army. But I've seen these guys aspire and prosper. I've seen them get educations. I've seen them get good jobs. Some of them start companies. I've seen some of these guys get rich in America, coming here with nothing in their pocket. That's a possibility. You can do it if you're not limited in your own mind. A lot of us tend to limit our minds. Our biggest enemy is what we think in our heads that we can't do. It's that negative programming too many of us were given as children or given to us in schools, which really aren't there to train us to excel, but to be good little factory workers probably. are good little minions of the state. So it's important to realize the value of what freedoms can give you. We have the most prosperous economy in the world. Some people say China has the second biggest, some people say the biggest economy. But if you go there, there's still people living in poverty. Yeah, the cities are better off. They're still not as well off as they are here in the United States. And they're peak. They're now at peak China. China's got some issues. China can't compete with us economically anymore. It now costs more money to produce goods in China than it does here in the United States. So that means every time a factory shuts down there, it's not coming back. It means more jobs will be coming here. Well, we do have a labor shortage, but theirs is going to be more acute. We will automate to some degree. A lot of people think robots are going to take over and do everything. No, it costs too much money to automate to that level. It's a big investment. Also, just the cost of maintaining it is huge. So I don't see all of that. My cat is free to run and chase mice or just have a good time, bugs. See, totally free. He don't care about all these things we worry about in our lives. But guys, seriously, these cats follow me out here in the woods. I think they're dogs or something. They follow like my dogs used to. Yeah, I've had quite a few dogs. Quite seriously, guys, the United States has its problems. They've had race problems and different things. I do not condone racism in any shape, form, or fashion. I am a conservative. That's pretty obvious. But there's certain, human standards we ought to adhere to. We need to understand our human side, and that's what's expected, biblically speaking. Now, I tell people this is not a religious channel. I got one or two guys that argue with me about that and tell me it is. I do recognize morality. I do think that's important. Even the Romans, who were pagan, were big on morality, guys. So, their morality might have differed than ours, but they were still big on morality. The Romans, every civilization. You can't have an existing civilization without some form of morality, or else it just all decays. Morality. Mainly how we treat our fellow man is the most important thing we can know. But America's going to, unless we do something stupid, we're going to remain a great land. Even if we divide, we can remain a great land. Even if there is a division of America and the states separate, we can still, if we don't get into too big of a civil war, hopefully we don't get into one at all, but we can still do things like have trade agreements, trade union. We could have some mutual defense pacts, things like that. And I think we should. I think that's important. I think that's vital. We need to be doing those things. But America's got some geographical, geopolitical advantages that no other nation on earth has. We have the ability to support ourselves energy-wise here. We could be an oil exporting nation again if we chose. We have a lot of energy in this nation. And, the middle of the country and the plains is rich in both wind and solar opportunities, and out west, solar opportunities, plains and wind in the plains and solar out west. In the east, it's a questionable proposition, but especially in the northeast. But, farther north you go, solar gets to be diminishing in what it gives you back compared to what it takes to put it in. Now, of course, if you're really remote, it may not make a big difference. But, guys, the United States has a huge interior river transit system. Where all our grain belt is, our wheat belt, we have a grain belt second to none. Even if the oligo aquifer dries up, it can still produce a lot. Maybe not what it's producing today. But the United States has a huge agricultural inland area that, like I said, no matter what, is second to none on Earth. And it's got a transportation system second to none on Earth. We have a vast river system leads itself to the best transportation you can imagine for bulk goods, because transport by water is 1/16 less than cost-wise than transport over land. I think that's even against rail. The United States is tied together by rail lines, highways. We got the interstate system thanks to Eisenhower. We've got a lot of infrastructure. It may not be all new, but China has a lot of infrastructure too, but a lot of that's what they call tofu infrastructure, which means it's going to fall apart. It's cheaply built due to all the corruption in the system there. We have corruption too, but not like theirs. Not like theirs. That's why theirs is in trouble. But we can, you know, silicon. The world's electronics runs on silicon. You know, silicon, over 90% of the base material that silicon's made from. The really good stuff comes out of, I believe it's one mine in, I think it's in South Carolina. Somewhere, it's either South Carolina or North Carolina. I believe it's South Carolina. So, the United States has energy. It has materials. It's got so much of what it needs. Our demographics, age-wise, aren't as bad as China, Europe, and most of the other Western nations. We'll get through. We're going to have a time of high inflation. And it may last a couple decades. We're going to have shortages. We're going to have a lot of challenges, reasons to prep. Even if we don't have a World War III or a grid down due to political strife or the sun. The sun's very likely to do it. But if we can manage to survive without getting a grid down. Little creatures running. Oh, there's some squirrels way out there. I don't know if y'all can see them. Something out there running on the ground. In the woods. There were some songbirds singing earlier. Not like it should be in these woods. These woods should be full of birds singing. I think it's hot heat of the day though. They cut back a lot. They sing one in the morning and the evening. Okay, guys. So we got a lot of resources. We got a lot of internal channels. We've got transportation, and we got one language from coast to coast. And even though we don't see eye to eye politically, we have similar cultures. Very similar. Far unlike Europe, or even inside China. So we've got the best demographics in the world, but the best thing about America is going to give it the opportunity to remain great for a long time if we don't do something stupid and get in a world war. It causes our coast to get inundated by Poseidon torpedoes. That would be the worst thing. That and our power grid getting shut down by EMP would be the worst thing that's going to happen to us. Maybe the Poseidon torpedoes might be the worst thing because they would leave our coastlines radioactive for years. But typically a nuclear war is survivable. But we haven't prepared for that. That's another topic. I've covered that. Oh yeah, Canadian preppers suddenly discovered that and started talking about it. I covered that months, even years ago. I've had Dr. Peter Pry on my channel many times for a long time now, only a couple of years. He's been a reoccurring guest. I'm glad that Canadian preppers posting that because he's got a bigger channel and it's finally getting the news out there and people need to hear that. So I'm glad that it's getting out there. People need to know. But yeah, nuclear war actually, unless you live in the city, and if you live in the city, you're probably not going to die from a nuclear war. The military bases will be the primary targets, especially the SAC bases, the missile bases, submarine bases. They'll be the primary targets. Everything else will be held hostage like the cities. Now the cities will die out because no infrastructure, people, there's nothing, you know, it's a food desert, it's a water desert, so electrical systems don't work, no water's pumped. Cities will be in trouble. But people in the country will survive, will be the best off. Most of that nuclear radiation goes away in a matter of a couple weeks. The power plants is going to be the problem. It's the power plants we won't have to worry about. So hopefully we'll take care of that. But my friends, that's what I've been talking about. I've been talking about this for some years. And that's why we need to harden our grid so we don't have to worry about those power plants, nuclear power plants. Spent fuel rods even, and the cooling pools. Everybody thinks about the reactor. Yeah, the reactors are a threat, but I talk about the cooling pools more often just because people hadn't been aware of that. Okay, my friends, so America has good prospects to remain a great nation for a long time. But the greatest thing, the most precious thing that sets us aside, despite all those demographic blessings that we've been blessed with, is freedom. Freedom. Which also includes freedom of religion, by the way, for those of you that want to know that. And, you know, our country's also had a moral founding. That has been a very important part of this nation. It's made us a strong nation. We need to maintain that, and we need to return to that. But the freedom aspect has empowered our nation beyond belief. And just think, you know, we have both economic freedom and political freedom. We got both. Some places have one or the other. But you know, if you want a good economy, economic freedom is a huge engine. There's nothing that competes with private enterprise to this date. Everybody says, oh, private enterprises fail, capitalism has failed. Well, we got crony capitalism. You don't even know what capitalism is. Ours is perverted by the political system. Look at Singapore. No natural resources, a booming economy. Look at Venezuela, one of the most oil-rich nations on earth, and people are starving to death. So my friends, it's not resources, it's freedom. Freedom is the most important thing we have. It's very important to cherish. Don't ever forget that on this 4th of July. Our ancestors fought hard to establish and maintain our freedom for a long time. Now, many of the more recent conflicts may have been for other geopolitical, geofinancial goals. They may not have promoted freedom at all. And that's what some of us have a suspicion of. So there's that saying that all wars are banker wars. Well, we certainly know they profit from them, don't they? So bear that in mind, my friends. Freedom is precious. We have it here. Don't give it up. So my final call to you, if you manage to stay on this far, say, Greg, I listened to the end in the comment below. I got an organization that's fighting for our freedoms. We're fighting not only maintain freedoms, but to restore freedoms. It's the Freedom Restoration Foundation. Go to freedomrestorationfoundation.org and look at our alerts. We've not set up a national membership structure yet, but we do have a board of directors that spread across the United States. Check out our group on Facebook or our group on MeWe, another social media. MeWe and Facebook. On Facebook we got, I don't know, approaching 900 members, but I think Facebook's hiding something. Honestly, I think it's a lot more than that. So check us out, my friends. We do alerts and we do calls to action. We got an action center. Go to our website, freedomrestorationfoundation.org. Check out the action center. Scroll down below the alerts, and it tells you all kinds of details about how to find and contact your state representatives and Congress critters, so we can keep working to maintain our freedoms. And that's what we got to do, is maintain our freedoms. It's the most important thing we've got in this country. It's a great blessing to have the freedoms we have, what our ancestors have fought for us to keep. With that, I'm going to say thank y'all for watching. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye. Greg out.